Good, interesting.
I'm
Awesome.
good. It's all about the people. Let's serve them and let's see what we can do to give them the value they're looking for.
All right. All right. Okay, we're live. Looks like we're live. Let me just double check. Should be good to go. All right. So we are live with another webinar. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us today with another webinar with the one and only Chadi Bazzi. He's joining us from Michigan. He's been training a lot of agents. He's been a superstar, really empowering agents, helping brokerages and so on. So today we're so excited to have him. We will be talking with him. Think of this as a general chat. The things that we would do in this call is just like pop up your question. We will go over it and we'll go from there. So let's get started. Welcome, Chaddi.
Hey man, I'm Sam. First of all, I just want to say I'm honored to be on your podcast today and to be able to serve and contribute to your audience and help every single person take some actionable items from us today that they can actually apply immediately and begin to get results. So thanks for the opportunity.
Awesome. That's great. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Chaddi? Like, who are you? Like, what was your background? And we would love to learn that.
All right, so I will give you the fast version. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, actually Dearborn, which is a suburb of Detroit. And in 1997, I started to sell real estate and did very good very quickly in the marketplace. And here's a young guy that wanted to make $100,000 a year. And the biggest challenge I had in the marketplace is that my average commission check was about $750. So you can imagine how many deals I had to do to make $100,000.
That's a lot of deals.
Yeah. And then, I just got in the mindset of like, if I can do it here, I can do it anywhere in the country. Why don't I make a move somewhere else? So I moved from Detroit, Michigan to Newport Beach, California. I've never been.
Wow, that's a bold move.
Except when I moved out to California, I didn't go right back into real estate. I never graduated from college, and I felt like I needed a college degree. And I was like, let me do things a little bit different. Why don't I go get my college degree from Mike Ferry? I think everybody's familiar with the name.
Wow,
Mike Ferry.
That's interesting.
So I went to work for Mike and started off like doing like little selling cassette tapes and all that little stuff, and did very good very quickly there again. Over $100,000 in my first year. Obviously, I'm around like these big thinkers, and 4 years into it, I was like, what would it be like to make $100,000 in a month? And I was like, well, it ain't happening here. Let me go into real estate. And by then, I had the right mindset, had the right skill set, and no center of influence or anything like that. Got involved in real estate, took my first listing in the first 24 hours, and was able to put over $100,000 worth of deals together in commissions in my first 30 days. And then this is around the time that Tom Ferry had, went on his own. He took notice of that, and he's like, "Will you come coach with us?" And got to the point I went and coached with him there. Had the most in-demand one-on-one coaching schedule. Did a lot of products underneath that umbrella, and been on over 30,000 one-on-one coaching calls. So that's like the fast version.
30,000 one-on-one coaching calls. Okay. I just need a minute to process that. But before that, did you say you were doing cassette tapes for agents? Like, when is this? Like, which era is this? Is it like 1990s?
When I went to work for Mike, that's where they start you off at the lowest. Like, there's the shipping department, and then there's the sales department. So I was like, cold calling real estate agents from all over the country and selling them like Mike Ferry cassette tapes.
Wow, that's interesting. And agents actually learned the stuff from the cassette tapes.
Yeah, I memorized it. Yeah, for sure.
That's interesting. So how is that process of like educating agents from that like 1 hour coaching calls where you have like now like 30 seconds to tell them something? How do you take that from there? Like it's got to be different, right? Like the attention span is shorter. There's a lot more agents, and your reach is different. So let's talk about that a little bit as well before we move on to the next topic.
Yeah. So basically, what we got to do is you can't just share one message and let that message resonate with every single person. So when you get involved in coaching, it's very personalized to that individual. So we're only talking about what is important to them and what's going to move the needle, the furthest. Like, for example, I'm not going to sit there and coach you on lead follow-up if you ain't got no leads. So it's different for every single person. It's very personalized.
That's interesting. That's awesome. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about building rapport, qualifying, presenting, handling objections, and the final closing. So let's go one on one. I don't want to hit you with all these questions, but I would love to know, like, what is your number one way to build rapport on your social, on your in your sphere, and so on?
Yeah, very, very good question. Look, there's an entire sales process for this, okay? And I just want to make a statement here. And the statement is that most people, they begin by placing the focus on their training around objection handlers. And in my opinion, and I strongly believe this, that is the least important thing that you need to learn, because if you do all the other things, then you eliminate the objections before they ever come up. And in order for you to do that, the single most important ingredient is going to be, how well can I create a connection with somebody? How can I get them to like me? How can I get them to trust me? How can I get them to see me as the person of authority, the expert in the marketplace? Okay. And that's through building rapport. Okay. Now there is, rapport building. You can do it digitally, or you can do it, like in a conversation with someone. So,
all right, so let's dig in. I love that. So let's say we're in a conversation. How would you do that? Like let's say me and you're talking. I'm a new agent. I'm just getting in. I don't have that much to show, but I want to appear as a trustable person that knows the market and someone that can be trusted.
Right. So basically, what you got to do is you got to focus on the emotion of the individual that is in front of you. So the way that we do that, and I'll give you 3 things, and then I'll make a recommendation, because this is like an art that you got to master. As a matter of fact, in my NLP training, we have a specific 45-minute video on rapport building. By the way, why don't we do this, Sam? Can we give your audience a gift that most people pay money for?
Yes. What is it?
Can we give them a 45-minute training on how to master the art and science of getting people to feel good in your presence?
I would love that.
Okay, awesome. So what I will do is I will send you the link, and then you can share it with your audience afterwards, because it's on a private server. But for those that may not get the link or watch it later, I'd say this. I'd say, number one, what you got to do is you got to mimic creative speech. Creative speech. Okay, wow, so we got to enter the world of our prospect. If they're fast speaking, we got to talk fast. We got to adjust our speed. If they talk slow, talk slow. I'm sure you know people that, do you know any elderly people, Sam? Like people that are like maybe 67. How do they speak? Do they speak faster or do they speak slow?
Slow, like slower,
okay.
From what I've seen.
Without even thinking about it, when you're around them, do you talk fast or do you talk slow, or you slow down, right? Okay. See,
that's awesome.
So basically everybody in everybody's circle speaks a specific way. You may speak differently. So what if you begin to speak like them, then you become familiar.
Okay.
If you speak the opposite of them, then you are unfamiliar, and that's when they put their guard down. So number one, mimic creative speech. Number two, mimic tonality. Mimic tonality. Okay. Number 3, use words that they use. Okay, like here in California, we say dude, in Michigan, we say bro, so it's like if I go to Michigan and say, hey dude, like they automatically know I'm not from there, so basically to make yourself familiar, you got to enter into their world. And obviously you also want to be mimicking volume. Okay, some people are high talkers, some people are low talkers. So you want to mimic volume. Some people, and then energy levels. I mean, if you're a super happy, excited person, and the person you're talking to is frustrated and angry, and there's already a mismatch. So basically, you want to become a chameleon to be able to enter the world, and that is one perfect way to do it over the phone. Now, when you are in person, you also want to be doing some mirror and matching body language.
Oh, I love that. So basically, it's just mimicking the whole posture and mimicking the whole.
Yes. Absolutely. If you're talking to someone and they talk with their hands and they ask you a question, you should answer with your hands. Now, if you're sitting across somebody and they have their right leg crossed over their left leg, then you should cross the opposite, your left leg over your right leg. So that way you become a split mirror image of them.
So hang on, you've been coaching people for a long time. Have you ever seen people doing it to you? Like what how does it feel like when people, like, because you know it now, right? So you automatically have done it so long.
You know, when I pick up on this stuff, I love it, man. It's like, because there's an art to it. And Sam, a lot of people don't really understand the name of the game in this business. You know, the name of the game in this person is not just lead generation. I mean, that's easy to do lead generation. You know, we can hire a service like yours and you can do work for us and that gives us leads. You know, we can hire other services and that will give us leads. But at the end of the game, it's about how do I make that lead feel? How do I create that connection? Because if I can't create the connection, I can't convert the lead. So that becomes step number one in the sales process. And I can keep going unless you have another question.
No, that's awesome. So now imagine that I've connected in whatever way, like leads, I've connected with you in an event or whatever. How do I start creating that trust? And how do I start connecting with you? You're not in the market to buy right now, but I know you will be in like 6 months, a year, 2 months, I don't know, 2 years, 5 years. And how do you create that connection? How do you talk and nurture your contacts in a way that you're not spamming them?
Yeah. So the first thing that I would do is what would take place immediately. Okay. And that would be the qualifying process. I don't want to nurture you in a way that you can't process, in a way that doesn't relate to you or resonate with you. I got to nurture you in a way that is a custom fit for you. So this is where, now that I got you to feel good in my presence, this is where I got to ask questions to get you to open up to me, okay? And I need to find out, like when people qualify somebody, Sam, what are they qualifying for? They're qualifying for, they say motivation, you know, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, and all that good stuff. What we qualify for is something completely different, and that's the difference that makes the difference. What we qualify for is like, how does Sam think? I mean, if I don't know how you think, how can I, you know, impact your thinking? How does Sam make decisions? You know, I mean, if I want you to make a decision to work with me, I got to know how you make decisions. How does he process information? Because if I give you the right information in a way that you can't process it, what do? We lose you. Okay. So the qualifying process will determine the nurture process. Okay. So it's not just like a one-off. So Sam, how do people process information? They either process it, but what they see, or what they hear, or what they feel. Okay, so what I want you to do right now, Sam, is I want you to think about a time in your life where you felt like you were on fire. Go ahead, think about that right now.
Okay.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
Can you
say it or like talk about it? Okay. Or
yeah,
okay,
whatever you want.
Yeah, it could be like a like running like a 10K or 20K and just like running next to the water, like enjoying that moment, and you feel like that adrenaline kicks in and you're on fire. So that's one. Or like business wise, like we did this and this and we got this many agents to use our product, and it was really great feeling.
Okay, awesome. So basically the reason we ask, I mean, it doesn't have to be that question, but the reason I asked you that question is to try to identify how you process information. Okay. And I think who you are is more on the auditory kinesthetic side, meaning through hearing, not visualizing. Would you agree with that statement or not?
Yeah. Okay. So I get it now. This is so cool.
Okay, so now that I know how you process information, all I got to do is feed you that information in the way that you process it so you could understand it. Okay, so once I know that, then guess what my nurture campaign is going to be like? It's not going to be a video. It's not going to be, text. It's going to be voice messages.
Okay. All right, and that's really hard to know, right? Like, and I think that's the challenge, like knowing what it is and doing it at a scale. So let's get into consistency. So like a lot of agents come to me and they're like, well, we have a lot of ready-made videos, and they come to me and say, they're like, Sam, I want to download 10 videos. I'm like, why? First of all, you can just schedule it. Like we post the video for you. Why would you want to download it? The next question is like, why do you want 10? They're like, well, I want to just pop 10 in my Instagram today. I'm like, what did your poor audience do? And what are you planning to do next? Just like not posting anything for the next 10 days? And they're like, yeah. So let's talk about consistency. So you've been in this business for so long. How do you stay consistent? What's your advice for agents to stay consistent about whatever it is that they're doing?
My vision. And I'm on a mission to live my vision. If I want to live my vision, the only way that I can do it is for me to identify the things that I need to do and be consistent with it. So most people have a difficult time with being consistent, and it's simply because they don't have that connection with the future that they're trying to build. They're just like going about things from day to day. They're just trying to make ends meet. They can't see long term. They don't have that certainty. They're just trying to make something happen quickly. And if it happens quickly, then they stop doing the work that got them the result. If it doesn't happen quickly, they're moving on to the next thing. They weren't consistent in the same exact thing. I'll give you an example. And I wish I could probably pull it up right here. I got a gentleman. Okay, his name is Marvin Gomez. Marvin Gomez started, using telephone prospecting, okay? And this guy was freaking damn very consistent in showing up and doing the work every single day, did not get the results right away. Took a little while for him to get the results, and I kept on telling him, bro, you gotta stay consistent. You are, 3 feet away from gold. So he stuck with it consistently every single day. And look, this is a copy of his last paycheck on the 4th.
Wow.
It's a $123,000 commission check from calling on expired. Now, that didn't happen by doing something every once in a while. That happened by being consistent in making phone calls every single day. So look, here's your vision. Here's your vision. And most people aren't clear on their vision, their why they want to accomplish something. Here's your vision, and here's you. Too far away. They're very far away. The more consistent you are, the closer you get to it, okay? The closer you get to it. And everything's gonna take a little bit longer for you to get it than you want it to. And the only thing that's gonna speed up the process is your consistency. Now, let's take that a step further. Some people just have a hard time, no matter what. For those people, I would say, get yourself an accountability partner. Get yourself.
That's gold. That's really important, I think.
Yeah.
And that accountability partner can actually push you, like remind you, and really get you in the zone to just go consistently. So I love it. Like you're saying, it's not about the tools. The tools are there. They're just this medium. But the key thing that you need is the motivation. You need to think about it. You need to want it first. And once you've done that, then you actually get there. It's the same thing like a lot of dietitians are saying, like a lot of coaches are saying, like you have to think about it first. You have to want it. And once you've wanted it, you think about that vision, that horizon that you want to get into, and then you can actually get there and cash in on that goal that you have. So that's awesome. Yeah. Now, let's say finally, for whatever through whatever tool, through all this hard work that I've done, I get in front of a client now, and I'm going into their home. I'm presenting a home evaluation kit, and I've put in a lot of work into this. But how do I make sure I close that lead? How do I make sure I'm like nailing this lead that I have right now, and I'm listing this right now? I've seen listing agents so confident that they even take the paperwork with them that day. They're like, of course I'm going to sign this up. Of course I'm going to list it today. So tell me about that.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Step number one is these top listing agents go in there with the mindset that they've already taken the listing before they even got there. So step number one is to assume the sale and go in there with the mindset of like, this is a done deal. So the step number one is to assume the sale. Step number two is going to be in when you're at the listing presentation, you have to learn. So I'll break it down this way, Sam. What is a listing presentation anyways? Like, it depends who you ask. To me, a listing presentation is nothing more than a conversation between the seller and yourself. And the better you are at having a conversation, the more likely you are to produce that outcome of getting a signature. So now, how do I control that conversation at the listing presentation? It's by asking all the right questions. So once we assume the sale, the second thing that we got to do is we got to reconnect them to their why. To their why. Why do they want to sell? What do they got to do to get it sold? And how am I gonna play a role in that? So we reconnect them to their motivation, and then it's in the delivery of the CMA. How do you deliver the CMA? Most people deliver it incorrectly, and that's exactly why they never get the listing, even though they might get the right price. So very high engagement, and then how do you close it? So
how should a CMA look like? Is it like a 20-page CMA maker from your MLS, or is it this custom thing that you've created and it's your identity, it's your story?
Yeah. So look, the way that we do it is very simple, man. It's just like three solds, three actives, and then one or two pendings. And then in our arsenal, in our toolbox, we always got a printout of all the expireds in the marketplace in case we need to get the price right. We get to use that for a reason of handling objections. But the key is going to be in the engagement. Like most agents, they go there, Sam, they'll be like, well, here's property number one over on 123 Banana Street. And it has 3 bedrooms. It has, 3 bathrooms. It is listed, for that much. And it has, this lot size. And here's property number 2. And here's property. You already lost me. We got to engage them. Hey, Sam, here's property number 1. Okay. Over on 123 Banana Street. Have you been by that property yet? Have you been inside the property? Like, I'm asking you questions. You're like, no. Okay, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and make a note for myself that when you hire me this evening, we're going to go out and take a look at the property in a couple of days to make sure, we're outperforming the competition. We might look at the property, we might not. But do you see the way I'm speaking? I'm speaking as if I've already taken the listing and, we're a team and we're going to do this. So using a lot of what we call assumptive language patterns. Can I give you one more example?
Love that. Go ahead.
So, as the agent that you have selected to represent you, Sam, I'm sure you want to know what it is that I'm going to do to market your home, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but did you see what I said? As the agent you have selected to represent you.
That's gold. That's golden nugget. So you've already planted that in my mind, and I'm already thinking about it, and I've already accepted it.
Yeah, and you agreed to it.
Some unconscious level. That's awesome.
Right. 2 more things real quickly, because I want your audience to get a lot of value. Okay. So one of the things that we do before the listing presentation is we ask the seller, Mr. Seller, tell me specifically, what is it that you are looking for in a real estate professional like me?
So you've implied that you're a professional. You're asking for the questions. I love it. And
I'm telling them to like me. That's an embedded command. I'm planting that in their mind. I want you to like me. But not only that, they're telling me what and who should show up to the listing presentation. So if they tell me I'm looking for A, B, and C, what should the bulk of my conversation revolve around during the listing presentation? A, B, and C. That way, everything they're looking for is everything that showed up. And then the close is very natural. Sam, based on everything I shared with you so far this evening, what do you think would actually happen when you hire me?
So you're asking the question now, and then they have to answer it, and you're looking into expectations. You're seeing like what it is that they're thinking about. That's
well. Now, if I ask that question, and I say, well, I think you can, I think you can definitely get the job done. And then I'll say, what else? Well, I think you're gonna get us a lot of offers. And if I bring you a lot of offers, what will happen? Well, we'll be able to sell it for more. Now they're telling me that when they hire me, all these things are going to happen. Now I just look them straight in the eyes and I just say, I agree. Let's it's done.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's circle back a little bit. Like let's go a little bit like before getting into that listing presentation. A lot of our audience are actually asking, what are the top methods to generate listings? We are in this drought of listings right now. There's not that much inventory. Every seller is like, oh, I'm not selling. Like there is always, and me and you were just talking about, like, there's not even that much expired. What do we do? Like, how do we go from there? Like, what are some of the tried and true methods that people have used, and what are some of the new ways that you would recommend agents to do?
Yeah, very good question, Sam. In a lot of marketplaces right now, there's a lot of limited inventory, and then the people that I'm working with are taking a good 1 to 2 listings every single week, and everybody's looking at us saying, "How are you doing it?" And it's not just the database, it's not just their social media presence. Their database and social media presence are very critically important. So I just want to say something for the people that are not utilizing the power of social media. You are missing out big time, big time, big time. Okay, because not only can you get business from that, even though you don't get it directly from that, I'm going to tell you what happens, because we use the phones for prospecting. Kareen Welt and one of my clients, we prospect together live on Zoom, and she's making a phone call, and the guy's like, how can I, like, do you do some kind of marketing or social media or something like that? She goes, it's funny that you ask. Can I text you a link? She texted them a link, and it was like video after video, post after post after post after post. She ended up getting the appointment because her social media positioned her as the expert. Consistent social media positions you as the expert. And even though that lead, which was like $1 million listing, by the way, didn't come from social media closed the deal for her. Okay.
That's a golden nugget. And I think a lot of people miss that. They think social media is this magic pill that you would take and you're just all set for life. And I keep telling our agents and in my daily webinars, like, look, there's no magic pill. You got to do the work. Even if you do like 80% of your posts for you, that one post a week, that personal touch, that sauce to the meal, I always say, is yours, and you still have to do it. It's who you are. It's who Sam is. It's who Chad is. And it's really about that essence of just telling your audience who you are and why they should work with you. It could be because you're a gym guy. It could be because you're a runner. It could be because you're into construction. I don't know. It's your story, and you have to tell that story. You have to get it out there. You have to get people to notice it and see it, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think that's your social media is a salesperson that works for you. It does all the telling and selling for you. So by the time you show up, people have already decided on you. So very critically important. But to answer your question, where my clients are getting the majority of the business right now is for sale by owners and expireds. For sale by owners and expireds. Okay. Obviously, you got to have a very good skill set for going after that business and getting a business. Now, where people have limited amount of expireds because they're in a very hot market, what we did with one of my clients, her name is Marilu, is we pulled up all the expireds from 2019 and 2020, and in 2021, she listed 41 of those old expireds. So there's not expireds right now, but there has been some. Let's find out which ones never sold.
Ah, this is gold. So not this year, but like there's probably a lot of expireds from like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and those people still want to sell, but for the right price.
And now they're getting more than what they thought they can get back then.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's awesome. So this is interesting. Now my next question is, okay, so how do you find for sale by owners? Like how do you find FSBOs? Like I've had a hard time looking for them. Like where do they hang out? If you wanted to say that, except driving on the street, obviously.
I would recommend a service called Vulcan 7. Vulcan 7. It's a software. You just log into your software. It has all the right phone numbers for all the for sale by owners, all the expireds. Then you just click a button and it starts dialing for you, by the way. It does the call for you. Absolutely. And it would be a good service. And if anybody was interested in Vulcan 7, when you give them a call, if you just mention my name, they will go ahead and waive the setup fee for you.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. What systems do you recommend for a consistent lead follow-up and calling? So let's say I have 100 leads, I want to call them, but at the same time, I want to be organized. I want to know like who's interested, who's not interested, who's a future prospect, who should go into my database as a future prospect, who should go into my database as this person that might be interested or not.
Yeah, so basically that's, you know, through the use of a good CRM. At the end of the day, which CRM should you use? I would say they pretty much all do the same stuff as long as you use the CRM. Most people don't use it. My son just got into real estate, and the one that I chose for him was Follow Up Boss. So,
oh yeah, I love them. They're really good. Really good.
So that's the one that I would personally recommend. And if someone is on a low budget, then I would recommend Lion Desk. Would be another.
Lion Desk, I've seen those as well. That's good advice. And how would you? So my next question is like, how would you actually keep track of these people? So let's say you have a bunch of prospects. They're not ready to sell now, but in 6 months they will be. How would you keep in contact with them? And we've tried various ways. Like right now, there's this email solution that we have, and you can basically send relevant content to your audience, and that would be a weekly campaign, and you would keep educating them. Like there's your social media presence. You get them to connect with you on social. You get them to interact with you on social. Like I keep telling agents, hey, like just add your people on social, hang out there, like comment, interact with your audience, like everything that you see, and do all these things. But what can you do offline aside from the things that you can do online?
Oh, besides the phone call?
Well, a phone call is an actual offline. Yeah. So
it would be the phones, definitely the phones. Like every single person should be, you know, a lot of people make the mistake of just like putting them in their database and nurture them and get them their automated emails and all that good stuff. I'll tell you, besides the phone call, we're going to go back to online. Something that a lot of people are not utilizing to its full capacity is direct messaging.
Okay, so DMs.
I'm telling you, like, you know, like we have an organized way for doing our DMs. Like there's softwares. I don't know if you knew this or not. There's softwares that you can actually, you know, purchase and download, and then you're able to categorize people in like, you know, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, etc. And it's all for your direct messaging. So what we do is we place people in a friend list. Like I don't know if you knew this or not, Sam, but you can create friend lists on Facebook.
Okay.
And, you know, instead of having your regular timeline, you know, you log in and there's a timeline of everybody that is your friend.
That's a golden nugget. So you don't really waste time just going through everyone and see all these different posts.
You just go to their friend list, and then there's just your leads. And now you're like, you know, liking their stuff, you're commenting on their stuff. And a lot of times it's not just about the like and the comment. Like somebody posted a picture of their baby. You know, what I would do, I would send them a direct message saying, you know, how adorable, you know, or something like that. It's a direct message. People will speak more to you in private than they would do in public on social media because nobody's watching. So direct messaging.
Direct messaging. That's awesome. So like story replies, if you're on Instagram, TikTok, like really commenting on things and interacting with them. And I think it goes back to back to the basics, right? People like them. People will connect with you if you're mimicking the things that they do. So if they're saying something and you like it, automatically you like me. So it's I think that's the good thing. So we're reaching to the end of this podcast webinar. I just wanted to, like, if you wanted agents to leave with one thing, and if you wanted to do one thing, like, so they would remember one thing, and from this call, what would it be?
It'd be the following quote, okay? And it would be that the key to success has nothing to do with what you do. The key to success has everything to do with how you feel while you are doing it. So rather than keeping the major focus on your business, keep the major focus on the business owner, and that's who you are. Like every single day, your number one goal should be, how can I feel good? My number one goal every single day is, how do I feel good? And then when I reach goal number one, Sam, I immediately go for goal number two. How can I feel even better? Because now, if I feel good, everything I do is going to create a better outcome. So keep the focus on you.
All right. That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining this call, Chaddi. Thank you, everyone, for watching this. And we'll be back with another Success Series webinar in 2 weeks. We would put the link that Chaddi provided on this chat. We actually provided Walk-on 7. And there's another link that the Chaddi will give us. We will put it under this YouTube call. And then you can always reach out to Chaddi or me for more questions. Thank you so much for joining, and have a good rest of your day.